He's here. He's there. He's there. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, September 23rd, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Big thing that happened this week was that Logitech officially announced their handheld. They had about a 13-minute presenter, which I will link down in the description. But we have a price point. It'll start at $350. They're boasting 12 hours of battery life, and then they showed off all of the cloud-based gaming that you can do on the handheld. You will be able to use Game Pass as well as NVIDIA's GeForce Now to play your games. So should be good. As with most kind of handheld things, I don't think you really get a sense of it until you kind of have it in your hands. It looks a little smaller than the Steam Deck, and I don't know that it'll have like a docked mode, which the Steam Deck will eventually have. But yeah, I'm kind of curious where this will kind of fit in the market. Competition always is good for the consumer. So kind of glad that like Steam doesn't have the only kind of handheld that can play PC and Xbox games on it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what happens with that. So I'll have a link down below where you can watch the full presentation. Moving right along, we are starting to get hands-on with Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, a game that I'm looking forward to. Saw like a 6-minute video talking about kind of the gameplay and what the new improvements to the game are. The first kind of couple minutes we're talking about the freeform movement, which I kind of don't like. I like my turn-based strategy games grid-based. So I like running around on the grids and kind of having the 50 and 100% cover. It looks like they're going a little bit more freeform. They want you to be able to move your character wherever you want to put them. They're kind of giving a bubble. There's going to be a lot more focus, it seems, on like melee attacking. So yeah, I don't know quite how I'm going to feel about this. Hopefully I get a little bit more gameplay, but makes me a little bit more hesitant to buy it day one. I might wait to see kind of reviews because I liked, again, the grid-based game of it all. And it just looks like a little bit more floaty, a little bit more freeform, and that's not really what I'm looking for in my turn-based cover shooters. So let me know what you think of the most recent Sparks of Hope gameplay down below. I am Ironman, or at least EA is Ironman. They have the Marvel rights at least to one game. They're making an Ironman game. We don't know too much about it, but EA is saying that they're going to have a faithful adaptation, whatever that means. Hopefully it's not Superman 64 flying around and shooting, flying through rings and stuff like that. I don't imagine it being, I don't think it'll be that bad, but it'll be kind of curious what they do with it. We already know that they can build giant mechs that fly around in the air, as we saw Anthem. Yes, that's the name of the game. Oh my god, I just had to Google it. That was crazy. Completely forgettable name, as you can see. But we know that that EA's got the technology to kind of make a mech suit fly around. So they can do that with Iron Man. But what else can they do? What kind of abilities are we gonna get? We already know what it's like to live in a Marvel world because we've gotten 2 Spider-Man games. In the last couple of years. So, hopefully it's something like that where we're exploring a city. Or at least that's what I imagine it could be. So I think the bar is set a little bit high. Also, Iron Man being a fan favorite ever since RDJ's portrayal of it. So, it'll be really interesting kind of to see what they do with Iron Man, whether or not that, put him in the Middle East and make it an arms race or anything like that, go into that stuff. It would be interesting to kind of see what EA does with the Iron Man IP, or the Marvel IP and Iron Man. Anyway, moving right along, we did have video games released this week. It has been 12 years since we've gotten the last one, which it seems like they're on a pretty regular cadence of once every decade releasing one. The old LucasArts game, Monkey Island, has finally returned. Return to Monkey Island launched this week. It's currently sitting at an 88 Metacritic, which is nice, which is really good for kind of an old school kind of game. I think there's a lot of nostalgia around these games. It's good to see that point and click adventures are still back on the map. And I think it seems like nostalgia is kind of carrying this game. So and those are always like really good point and click adventures. Um, you know, I think these are among the classic as far as kind of LucasArts games as well as point and click adventures. So let me know if you pick up Return to Monkey Island and what you think of it down below in the comments. Another big piece of news that happened this week was GTA 6, or at least Take-Two seemed like they were hacked, and there was a lot of content from GTA 6 released. So of the content that was hacked and released, it seems like there's going to be a little bit more focus on stealth, where you can like go prone and crouch. It will be set in Miami, which is something that that Rockstar has already said where it was going to be placed. And all of this kind of caused a downturn in Take-Two stock. I think this is more a reaction to the fact that they were hacked as opposed to the content, because I don't think anything in the content that was discussed, at least that I heard about, would kind of do something like this. So yeah, I think GTA 6 sounds like it's off to a good start. And as we know, Rockstar is going to wait to officially talk about it whenever they choose to, probably in the next year or so, as it's coming up around their usual cadence of releasing information. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I have an explainer video that I watched to prep me for what actually happened, and I'll have a link to it down below in the description. Twitch is changing how their revenue split is shared with how much a streamer gets when someone subscribes. As people may or may not know, of the $5 that you pay for a subscription on Twitch, $2.50 of that usually goes to the streamer, and they're switching up the revenue share. And I think it was 70-30 for larger streamers, or the ones pulling in more of the money, but now that's kind of been flipped. Revenue share for smaller streamers, or at least the ones that haven't made as much money, are getting 70-30 up until they make $100,000, and then it'll go back to the 50-50. So I think this is a really good move. It really kind of incentivizes their base. All the stuff that I've read, like about how hard it is to kind of crack into those top rankings on Twitch, is only if you're getting more than like 10 viewers, you're like in the top 10% of Twitch. So yeah, it's a really good way to incentivize their base. I know that a lot of people have been switching based on better revenue shares. I think that's what Mixer was doing, like 80-20 or 70-30 in favor of the streamer. So that's why a lot of people switched over there. So Twitch is kind of keeping up with that. Also, there's a little bit of an undertone about what did the article say? That it has to do with server costs, like the amount of data that larger streamers use, at least as far as like how much server space they're using for the larger streamers and how much content they're producing. The cost of that has increased, and that's why they're making it 50-50 if you're a larger streamer. So I bet that's not going to go over well with some of the larger streamers, but pretty nice incentive for their base. So yay, I'll be getting more. I'll be getting 70-30 split on mine. So I'll get 350 instead of 250 per all 3 or 4 of my subscribers. So thank you, subscribers. Moving right along, there was a pretty cool game that caught my eye this week. It's called Gourd, and it is in the article it was sold as a Diablo town sim. You start with this like dungy town, and you have to kind of like build it up to survive. It's based on Slavic folklore, so it's kind of like dark and grungy. And you build up your town, you get an economy, and then you kind of spread out and try and try and cultivate more stuff and kind of build out your influence. So it really caught my eye as I've been kind of looking for a good town sim. Wandering Village came out recently. I just finished up playing Cult of the Lamb. So really kind of on a town, town sim click right now, and so this really caught my eye. Also, I like the kind of grim dark fantasy that is kind of Diablo, and it definitely kind of hits on that vibe. So I'll have a link down below so you can check it out. Tell me what you think. The next asymmetrical horror game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is the developers are already talking about how they're really going for the scarier route, and they're going to be more survival and stealth based than other games. Not specifically named, but inferred that they're talking about Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th, all of which I think kind of do feel scary. But any of these kind of asymmetrical horror games are just going to lose their scare factor as you play it more. Like as you get more used to like dying and all that kind of stuff, it's just going to lose its scariness. I still like hearing the heartbeat in Dead by Daylight. I still get scared and like amped up whenever you hear that. So I don't quite know what they were going for there, but at least it's cool to see that it's a little bit more scary and survival based. I never did like in in Friday the 13th that you could actually like attack Jason. I didn't really. Anyway, so hopefully I do like this leaning. If it does swing the pendulum swing a little bit scarier than Dead by Daylight, I'd like to see how that does, especially if you can like hear the chainsaw sound and it's getting louder and louder and louder as the killer's approaching. I can definitely see that kind of amping people up. And being more stealth based and less kind of combative, because I don't think that's really what the Texas Chainsaw Massacre IP is all about. Moving right along, for those of you who like the Dark Souls, Horizon, and Monster Hunter adaptations for board games with the big miniatures, good news. Their Steamforged game, the developer and publisher behind that, is making an Elden Ring board game. So if you ever wanted to paint Marguerite or any of the other Elden Ring characters, it sounds like you'll be able to do that soon. I've already put this on my Kickstarter, as all the previous ones have been kickstarted. I know that the original Dark Souls board game was very piecemealed in its delivery and took over the course of like 4 years. So it was a pain in the butt, at least from anecdotal conversations about it. But I think that they've kind of hopefully worked out their supply chain and are able to deliver this kind of in a timely manner. And Elden Ring has been on all of our minds. Probably going to be the game of the year this year, so looking forward to that. And yeah, I think there's a lot of identifiable characters, and hopefully they've kind of expanded on the board game, the gameplay of it a bit, because I found the Dark Souls board game to be a little bit tedious, especially with its play. So yeah, looking forward to Elden Ring and seeing what all the miniatures are going to look like, and eventually, maybe even putting paint to plastic if I pick it up. And last but certainly not least, and the reason that I'm wearing my AFC Richmond jersey this week is it's official. FIFA has announced that Ted Lasso will be coming to FIFA 23. The little video for it was was endearing. It was good seeing kind of Ted Lasso and all the other characters in their video game adaptations. So yeah, looking forward to that. Like I said last time with just the leaks, I don't often pick up FIFA games, but I am excited to kind of see how they implement AFC Richmond. And as you can see, I'm a huge fan of the TV show, so looking forward to that. But that's it for this week. If you feel I forgot anything, leave a comment down below, and we can always talk video games down in the comments. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye.